Okay, another devlog here. You may notice right off the bat that it looks a little bit different here. Uh, all I did was I just added textures here. That's why it looks funny here. That's literally all I did. I just added some textures over here under the mesh renderer, under the materials. I just added the texture, and then same thing here. I just added some textures, and I also added some different lights, different color lights, just to test things out. Before, when I was drawing the sprites, I was using the sprites default uh, material, and that doesn't react to lights. So what I actually did was create a new material here under assets material, and I made one called sprites light, and it just uses a sprite slash diffuse shader. So that means this will react to light now. So now if it's dark, the sprites will actually be dark. If there's a blue light, the sprites will actually be blue, instead of just being, default full bright like these are. As you can see, these are still the old way. So it's using sprites default over here. Let's see. I have quite a bit to cover right now. Oh man, that's weird. Because I made quite a few changes. Let's see if I can cover them all. I'll start with the small stuff first, and kind of go through everything one by one. So first thing, let me fix my mic here. Okay. First thing, let me turn the volume down so it's not deafening. I added the rest of the animations for the Cacodemon. So as you can see, he now has diagonal directions. The other thing you'll probably notice right off the bat is they're not attacking me right away. They'll only attack me if I move in front of them. For example. There he goes. And you'll also notice he now has sound effects for when he swings his hammer. He still doesn't do any damage to me. He does do damage to enemies. That's something else I'll get to in a little bit. And also, if you notice, he reacts to the different lights. See how he turns purple under the purple light? And then over here, he'll turn green. If I can get around it. I can still push him around, though. Just dumb. I'll talk about... Let me just talk about the fact that they don't get woken up until I step in front of them. So let's go to the code. So what I do is, in the behavior, for example, let's take the Cacodemon behavior. I start the state in 1, and state 1 is, oh wait, let me zoom it in. Sorry. Okay, so as you can see, I start state in 1, and state 1 is down here. Monster is idle, state 1. And what I just do is I use the direction thing here, like always. Play animation, direction string. And then I have something called freeze animation. This is probably not necessary for the Cacodemon, but it is for the other enemies. And freeze animation is a function that I put in the sprite animator, which is right here. I'll show you. Freeze animation. All it does is just set the animation count, which is what determines when to go to the next frame of animation, and just sets it to 0. So which means the animation will never go to the next frame. So it's essentially frozen. And then I say if DMG is the damage controller. If you watch my earlier logs, yeah, it just get component damage controller. By the way, the thing about the damage controller, it's really more of from what I've done to it, it's really now more of just a general controller for enemies. It's just a way to kind of universalize the enemy behaviors. So I can say things like, if the enemy gets hurt, then play his hurt sound effect. And then all I have to do is throw that script onto an enemy if I want to make a new enemy, and then plug in his injured sound effect, and then I don't have to do anything else. The game will already know what to do. instead of just copy pasting code all over all the enemies, duplicate code. I want to try and keep the enemy monster specific behavior within keep the behavior scripts for each monster the only use the code that's monster specific is what I'm saying. So anyway, in the damage controller I have a new function called can see object. This returns a boolean of whether the monster can actually see whatever object you put in or not. It takes 3 parameters. In this case it takes a game object, which is the object that it's checking to see, a target, which determines which direction the monster's facing, and then a boolean called use direction, which means this determines whether let me go to this function and I'll explain it. So it's down here, right here actually. Can see object, so you can see takes in the game object, takes in target, and then use direction. So what it does is it just puts out a raycast. This is just getting the angles and the direction right here. It throws out a raycast and says if the monster can has a field of vision with whatever object, in this case it's the player, then return true. That's if it's not using the direction. But if use direction is on, then it also takes into account the monster's angle, and it will say if the monster's real angle is facing toward the object. Let me just get more technical here. I use a function here. This is actually a new function I just discovered. I didn't know about this. Called vector3 dot. Vector3 dot will bring back the difference. It'll bring back a number determining the difference between 2 separate angles. And what I do is I compare the angle of the raycast and the real angle of the monster. And I say if they're within a certain range, then activate them. So what let me try to explain this a little bit better, or use an example actually of what the difference between this use direction is. So if a monster is idle and you're standing behind it, the raycast can hit you, but it's not facing you. You have to stand in front of it. But if the monster is attacking you, it has to determine whether the monster can actually see you. In other words, the monster won't actually try to shoot you if it's behind a wall or something. But if the monster is it's in its attack state, but it's walking away, well, its real angle is facing away from you, but it can still you're still in visual range, and so it will still attack you. So that's the difference here. And that's what that's used for. So anyway, after that's done, if it can actually, if it comes back true, in other words, it can see you. I have another function in the damage controller called alert. All this does, where is this? It just plays a sound effect basically. Yeah, this is all this function does, is just play an alert sound effect. So in Doom or Wolfenstein, when an enemy sees you, they do that little sound that they do that little growl at you and then come after you. That's all it does. It just plays a sound effect. And the reason I did it in here and not in the behavior is because I wanted to keep all of the audio in the damage controller. I didn't want to start throwing audio into the behaviors, separate behaviors. Just wanted to keep everything consistent. And then restore just sets the state to 0, which is the attacking state. And that's it. That's what I did there, and you can see the final result. I did this. This is like this for all of them except the worm. The worm still just attacks you no matter what. So I can get in front of this guy. He makes a sound. That guy makes a sound. Man, they're disappearing. And that one makes a sound. And oh, did you see that? Did you see that? Oh man, I gotta fix this. What's going on here? Let me go stand up here. Let me see what the heck's going on with this thing. What is this? Let me just, alright, I'll just set it back to this. I don't know what I was doing to make it do that, but okay. I think it's okay now. Oh, another thing I didn't mention is I added a crosshair, if you notice, in the middle, just to help me aim. All that is I added in here, I added a UI image, which ended up going right here, and I just put it in the middle of the screen. That's it. That's all I did. That's all there is to it. So, right, alright, now the big thing that I added is, that you noticed earlier, I added some buttons to spawn some enemies, as you can, wow, they went over there. Wake all these guys up. Now, as you can see here, we're actually running over to this guy. See? Look at this. They're going at it. Oh, I added the sound effects too. I don't know if you can hear them. Yeah, come down here. Come down here. There we go. See how he's attacking him? There's a fight. The Cacodemons look freaking scary when they come over here. It's like a black light. Look at that. Come on. Get it. Get him. Yeah, get him. Oh, he's still attacking me. Get down here. Yes, I got him. There we go. Yeah, hit him again for good measure. Let's get them to attack this guy. Get him, get him. Yeah. Alright. Change the sound effect for the machine gun. The other sound effect was kind of obnoxious. Okay. And alright, let me show you what I'm doing here. This time let's take the goblin behavior as an example. So before I was hard coding it to just attack the player all the time. And where is it? Yeah, here. But I changed it because so now it uses something called target object, which is just another game object. So instead of just hard coding it as the player here, it uses this target object. And what happens is, if this is all kind of the same, it just uses the target object instead of the player. Like this is code for moving toward the target. And down here, when it attacks, yeah. So down here it says, this was code I showed last time. This is just saying if it's close to an object, then attack. It's attacking. So state 4. And then down here in state 4, yeah, I added the different directions for the attacking, by the way. This is minor stuff, though. But anyway, if it is, yeah, if it hits, which is what this code is. This is saying, you know, if it's within range and the animation's done, then that's a hit, and it plays it calls the function in the damage controller called melee. And as you can see, I pass in the target object and I pass in the actual game object of this current enemy. So let's go to this and let's find melee. And so this plays the crunch sound effect. If it's hitting the player, I'm gonna add code here to say damage the player. Or if it's hitting a monster, then get the damage controller of the monster being hit. This is like the damage range, and then also pass in the object that was doing the hitting. In this case, I just call it new T, which is short for like new target. So because it's gonna make the current monster like the new target of the monster being attacked. So in damage hit, it now takes in a game object called new T, which is like new target. So if we go up to the hit, which you saw earlier here, as you can see, it now takes in new T. And for example, the goblin here, in its hurt function, in its behavior class or script, in the hurt function, it now takes in that new T object. So we follow the trail back to the goblin behavior down here and hit. We say it takes in the new T, so it sets the state to 3, which I think state 3 is like the injured animation or something. And then it says if there is a new target, then the target object is this new target. And in this case, the new target is the monster that was attacking. So now, after that monster got attacked, this new target is now this monster's target. And then up here, I added another little piece of code that was going to fix another problem. I say if the target is not the player, so in other words, if it's infighting, if it's fighting another monster, then get that monster's damage controller and see if its health is less than 0. In other words, see if it's dead. And if it's dead, then go back to targeting the player. So that way, if it's targeting and it kills something, then it says, oh, it's dead. I can go back to attacking the player. And that's that. I hope I explained this okay. So now if we go and run, I can spawn a bunch of enemies. Let's say we'll have a war between cacodemons and goblins. With them all I should probably add something later to say if it gets hit by its own kind, then you don't have to infight. Because right now the cacodemons fight each other. Oh my god, what happened there? He got launched. Oh, taken down. They still kind of stand on top of each other. Oh no. He's dead. Wow, did you see that? Launched in the air. I gotta figure out why it does that. I need to get these guys to like stick on the ground. Oh, look at these jerks. They're trying to get them. Oh, they're learning. They made a human pyramid. They're gonna. That's smart. They got smart. That's funny. Alright, see. So we can now just stay up here and look at the carnage. So it's all shaping up nicely. Okay, well, let me see. I want to say there was something else that was done, but I can't quite remember. Sometimes I can't remember what I showed already and what I didn't show. I added more sound effects, I added more sprites. Not, it's not really that important, I don't think. What else is there to talk about? I don't know. But, I guess if I miss anything, I'll talk about it in the next update. Oh, I don't know if I showed this already, but I did convert the weapon script to use the sprite animator. Before it wasn't. So as you can see, it now uses the play animation and is animation finished, blah blah blah. And I can now do like load animation and then do the frames and all this good stuff. So I think that's it for right now. So anything that I missed, I'll just make another update and then maybe talk about some new stuff that I add. But anyway, that's all for right now. So later, everyone.